G'day everyone, it's Smarty here. I'm putting up another YouTube video because on the weekend just gone, we went along and we videoed the old Xavier and TEM's game, and what I've picked up is a few interesting things tactically that I think will result in us doing a slight change to our tactics, and it was really a valuable exercise. So basically what I've done is I've just picked out 4 or 5 things from the first quarter just to show you exactly why we want to do tactical changes and what we want to do and what they're actually doing with the game. Okay, so bear with me because I'm doing this without any editing and it is a one-take wonder just to get it out. Okay, so bear with me while we switch over. Okay, so this is the footage we have. So what I've tried, as I did last time, is I've just got a whole heap of notes, so you just have to bear with me as I move forward and back. Okay, so the first one is just to show you what Xavier is actually doing. Okay, so we'll just watch the video for a second. Okay, so we can just pause it there, and if you go back 10 seconds or so, or even 20 seconds, basically what's happening is they're setting up their back passing and essentially using it to create a free player in space. Now, so you'll see that if they go around and they send it out, and we'll pause it there, that player in the middle, which is number 10, is their prime mover. That is the player that we've got to stop. But essentially that back pass is generating a free player in the center of the pitch, and they're doing that quite a lot. And what I noticed in the game is that essentially 95% of their attack that is actually effective comes from transfer of play around the back, and they're generally a little bit better drilled than we are currently in terms of taking those passes, and you see the ball come out. Okay, so that's the first example we got there. Okay, and I think it ends up in a short corner in the end if we continue to play on. So you see that player carries the ball the whole way down, and then transfers in, resulting in, I think, the short corner. So okay. And if we go forward about 30 seconds, okay, we can now actually see the short corner. So I was also lucky enough to see all the short corner variations, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay, so that's one of their short corner variations, and we'll show you, we've got probably 3, I reckon on the video we've got three out of the 4 variations that they have. Okay, but basically that back passing resulted in pretty much the only goal they got all day, except for the last minute or 2 of the game. So we've got just another couple of examples, and then we'll go into what the tactics are that we want to change. Okay, so this is another example of back passing. So you can see they're set up around the back, and they're looking up, and then they've sent the ball long and wide and out to the player. And once they're out, it's that same number 10 again, carrying the ball, and then she's transferred the ball out, which has basically freed up all their space, and they're carrying the ball down unopposed. And you see that, the whole way. Okay, the whole way basically Thames has not touched the ball. So essentially that is their primary attacking mode, which is to get out wide, get into space, and get down the field. Okay, so there's only 3 or 4 more clips that I'm going to show you, and then we'll go into the tactics. If you can just bear with me while I find the right spot. Okay, so this is another example of taking what the other tactic that they're doing, which is taking the ball quickly, and again you see the square pass, which is where the most dangerous. So straight away the player gets it, straight out, bang, and then that player's in for a circle entry. Okay, so they've got a lot of time to then deliver into the thing. It doesn't result in anything this time, but that quick passing and square passing is generating all of their options, and the rest of the time between the footage, and I will put the full video up later, it's a little bit scrappy as it is with us, and then basically that's how they're generating all their attack. So I'll show you one or two more examples, and so bear with me again. Let's see. Okay, again, this is another example of them going backwards, so starting from play from here. Okay, and so probably what I might do is take that even back 10 seconds. So once that player gets out, again, it's the number 10. That's the player that is setting up absolutely everything, then sending the ball, and then we've got a quick circle entry. Now, obviously, TEMS has closed down the space, but it's generating those problems. And again, she's going backwards again, setting up the play, back to number 10 again, and in for the setting up a lot of their play. All right, so you can see how important that central number 10 player actually is to their setup. Pretty much, I don't think they can win without her. Okay, now there is two more clips I have on my list, and then okay, so the next one is another example of their back passing. So going backwards, sorry, it's out of shot slightly. And sent. Players are on the move, and they've got a free player in space, and bang, it's out. And they're away, and that player has time to deliver, which then is giving a circle entry again. As I said, these are the few times that they're actually entering the circle unopposed, but it pretty much shows you what the game play actually is. Now the last thing we'll show you is the other short corner variation, and then we'll go into what we're doing, what I'm thinking of doing tactically going forward. Okay, so let's see. So we've got another short corner. I'm taking forever to take it, are they? Sorry, here we go. Sorry. Okay, so short corner here. So the first short corner went out to the left. The second corner here, I think, goes out to the right, and I think there's a straight shot option as well, just like what we have. Out wide. And then bang. Bit of a scrap and no goal. Okay, so pretty much that gives you pretty much an idea. Their primary attacking process, as I said to you, is just passing square. So what I've done quickly, just to show you kind of what we want to do, I've set up a whole heap of these different hockey fields to show you kind of what we need to do to change in order to stop that sort of play. And so for example, if we've got and I'm not sure how I'm going to go with mouse, but if we've got a ball here, okay, from Xavier, and Xavier is going up this end of the field, okay, so then basically what they normally will do is they'll normally have something like a player here, and then they'll have that number 10 sitting in space, around here. So if they can release number 10, then they're away. Okay, so normally what we would do is we would hold our positions in the center, something like that. Okay, in the middle. So I'm trying to draw these as I go. Okay, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, so hopefully this kind of makes sense. Now the problem is that what they're going to do is that they'll send the ball to here. They'll probably send the ball to here. In the meantime, we're running. Okay, and then they'll be moving back, looking for that player either up the line, in the middle to set up the play, or down the line. And that player will also be, will move into space here. So the reality is the reason they were getting out against us is that player was on the outside of our defensive structure, and basically as soon as that player receive the ball on the inside, and you might have a player behind you, even if there's a player just sitting just behind them, they can then, that player is good enough to carry the ball, doesn't take many risks, and pass it on, and suddenly you've got numbers streaming into the D. Okay, and that is the number one thing we have to stop. Okay, so we want to do a slight change in tactics, which we'll be trying to get everyone to implement over the next little while. So the first thing, if we have exactly the same setup, and I'm not going to draw every person in it because it takes me too long. Okay, so we have our free hit. They have their free hit. They are going in this direction, right? They'll have their same setup, something like this. Okay, and then we might have a sort of a half out here, and then we have their player in the middle. Okay, and then we have our defensive structure here, somewhere in front. So we close down, do pretty well at closing down most of those options. Now, the thing that we need to do is we need to bring one player out of this setup in the middle and bring them across to about here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to place them about here, and the reason for that is we want to prevent that pass. We want to make sure this player is on the goal on this side of the ground over here, so that if the ball comes in, they're unsighted when the player comes in to tackle. So the only way, so really, we just need a Haley or a Dom to be sitting up high, and we just need to make sure that we're really covering that area to prevent the ball going directly through. Okay, so just basically taking one player out of that area will be enough to stop that play, provided that that player is far enough in to dissuade the pass across the field. Okay, hopefully that sort of makes sense. So basically I'll be asking you to do much the same thing, except stop that one pass across the field. The second thing that we're I was looking at was their defensive structure on the way that we defend our short corners. So as we said, when I watched the game, I saw them do actually 4 variations, 3 of which you've seen on the things. One is the same as what we have, which is the direct shot straight into goal. Then they have the pass out this side and a pass out that side for a slap on goal. And the other variation, which was not on camera, was not used on the day but was used in practice, is a ball coming into here, okay, to the pusher, and then coming back out for the slap into the goal. Okay, so what we need to do in our defensive structure to be aware and deal with this, and this is the last thing we'll do, is that basically what we want to do is, because we have 5 in the goals here, all of which are mobile, not like a keeper, we can send 1 to the top, okay, right to the top to block the shot, and then we can send 2 just sitting, just forward of where the spot is, okay, in that sort of area, but still sort of roughly in line with the goal, so we can still protect the goals from a direct shot. Okay, 2 players there, so that if that pass out comes out there, we're there to stop the shots in either direction, and then we have 2 on the goal line. If we can do that, the probability of them scoring off a short corner is pretty low. Alright, so that's pretty much the video. So I kind of hope that's tactically what I want to do, and that's the reason I'm trying to get a lot of people there, so that we can work on defensively what we need to do. And there are also several 2 or 3 set plays that we want to put into practice for playing against Xavier. And then finally, the other couple of things that we want to try and do is for those players that are going to end up potentially being 8-second stroke takers at the end of the game, should there be a grand final, we need a couple of weeks of practice to be able to do that. Alright, hope that makes sense. As I said, I apologise for the editing in the video and just doing it really quickly, but hopefully that will make a little bit of sense as to why I'm doing what I am and give you a little bit more intel. I'll put up the whole video of the footage that I have, and also this one, of course. Alright, thanks guys, see ya.